Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi, and today's day we are talking once again about the American comic book industry, and mainly today we're talking about AI art and how it may or may not affect comics as we know it. But before we do get into it, we are on a march to 10,000 subs. It's official. Please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, share the video out. It does help this channel. Now, Yanzi has been following the AI art stuff a lot more than me. Okay, I'll be honest. I'm kind of not dialed into it like she is. I've had some live stream rants with people about it. How I personally feel about it as an artist is it could be a tool, it could be an enemy. We don't know yet. Let's find out.
Well, from the looks of the industry, a lot of people are very concerned about AI art because it looks like it's all right. So the main contention behind AI art is that AI art cannot really make art out of nothing. It basically has to sample all these millions and millions of pieces of artwork,
Right.
and then it pulls together little bits of information from each one to create a collage. So basically, what they're doing is that they're scraping data and putting together their own image. So in a way, it's not making something new. And at the same time, we are seeing people say things like, no, see, it made something new using references, just like a human being. It's like, no, see, it's not I take one piece from Da Vinci, one piece from Michelangelo, put it together. You know what I mean? I mean, my idea of references doesn't work that way. Anyway, so that people now having all these grand visions of using AI art to create their own properties and become rich and profitable. Like this person over here saying, this is how AI art has changed my life, and it will yours too. I love it. It has given me the power to make all the things I ever wanted without having to hire artists and writers. Ooh, so you don't pay people to make art. All right, that's fine. That's fine. My art portfolio has grown by leaps and bounds. I am planning to go to my first comic convention where I will be selling my own fantastic AI art and books. It will have my name on it only, and it will never say AI art. Wow, okay, so you love AI art, but you're ashamed to say it's AI art. But I don't blame you, see. A number of conventions actually came out and said we do not allow AI art on our convention floor. So maybe that's the issue here.
Well, that's going to be a thing going forward is with Artist Alley at cons, or is it allowed in? Do you have to tell customers what you're selling, that it's AI generated? Will people care? I have no idea. From my experience at Artist Alleys, usually people like hand-drawn artwork. I mean, that's the thing, or prints of hand-drawn artwork. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not digital painters and stuff out there, but still it's coming from a person. AI artwork, I don't know. It's very problematic in the art community. And a lot of it's got to do with like the people that are there, or they, that are buying up. Like the majority of Artist Alley doesn't want it there. It's not going to be there.
So for people who are saying, no, see, this is just some pipe dream. You can't really make a comic book out of that. Well, somebody over here, this Amar Rashid guy, he managed to make a whole children's book in 1 weekend. Look at it. Here he is holding it up. He literally made a children's book using all these AI tools. He even had an AI write the story for him, for goodness sakes. This is like 100% pure AI. And then he took all the prompts and ran it through Midjourney, which is one of those AI art creator things. And well, let's just say not all the results are fantastic. I mean, look at it. We all know AI has a problem with drawing hands because, let's face it, hands are kind of a drawing weakness for a lot of artists too. So unfortunately, if your source is not good at something, you probably won't be good at it too. A lot of AI applications have trouble drawing hands. But yeah, so he did show. This is how he puts together his own book, his own children's book, and now he's an author on Amazon. Isn't that lovely? You can even buy a print-on-demand copy of it for $9. Wow. Of course, there are people who are not very happy. They're like, oh, well, look at this. See all the problems with the AI art here. They're trying to pick it apart. Now, so here's the thing. AI art at a glance passes, I guess. When you start looking at it, trying to say you want to study it like you would study a piece of art from a grandmaster, I don't think it passes muster anymore.
But that's the thing with the American comic book industry. Now we're going to kind of switch into that. Is a lot of the art standards in the American comic book industry are like horrible. Like, I mean, they're basically hiring people that are the cheapest, unqualified people. And sometimes, and as weird as this is, if you're a normie tuning into this channel, they're hiring people based off the color of their skin or sexuality or demographic. So how will the AI artwork line up with that? Like, I don't know. Like these corporations, I'm not even sure if they're virtue signaling for a lower page rate at this point. Like I'm still, the verdict's not in on that. Like, is it for diversity or is it for a low page rate? That doesn't mean AI artwork isn't going to get better. And that's probably the thing is this will only grow from here, right?
Hmm. Well, I mean, something can get better, but does it pass legal muster? So earlier on, when I reposted this tweet, I basically said, "Oh, I can't wait for someone to make their own AI comic book." And then I wanted to do really well. I wanted to become a transmedia property and everything. And then I want the person who created it to realize, oh, great, I don't have any copyright over it.
Right.
And I had two guys coming in and saying, one was saying, I don't know, you can copyright anything, it's just about enforcing it, which is technically not true. You can't copyright anything. The other guy was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, well, today, dear people, I have been vindicated. So today, there was an article that basically says AI generated comic book loses copyright protection. So this was a pretty famous example. It was Zarya of the Dawn. Someone came up with this comic book, which was basically Zendaya. Okay, they basically told the AI to use Zendaya as the model, as the
Hmm.
lead character, and made a comic book. So let's see what is the problem exactly with it. The US Copyright Office appears to be backtracking on its decision to grant protection to an AI generated comic book. The Copyright Office granted protection to Chris Cantanova for the comic book titled Zarya of the Dawn in September. The comic was created using the text to image engine Midjourney, which is the ones that a lot of people are really talking about, including the guy that we just saw making a children's book. And marked the first time the agency approved an application for an AI work. However, they have now informed them that it will revoke the protection, saying copyrightable works require human authorship. And
Hmm.
of course, if you look in this Twitter thread, a lot of people are rejoicing and saying, oh, fantastic, this is exactly what it should be. All right, so here is the contention though. You want to say human authorship. Of course, all right. For people who don't know, a lot of people who created all these artwork using Midjourney, they're super protective of their prompts. Because unfortunately, machine learning is still kind of limited. So when you give if two guys give the exact same prompt that's super detailed and super precise, they will end up with more or less the exact same piece of artwork.
Right.
So these guys here who are stealing from artists are trying to protect their prompts from other people who might want to prompt the machine to create the same art and blah blah blah. Anyway, that's the irony. Whatever. Now, basically, what the U.S. Corporate Office has said is that you know what you typing down there saying what you want, that does not count as human authorship. That is not the human element required to make something so-called copyrightable. They want something that requires human authorship. So I guess at this point, what it really means is basically you need an artist to go in there and maybe do some touch up or something to the artwork
Yeah.
enough that you can say, oh, there's a human involved in this. Because at this
And
point in time, that the way the copyright office looks at it is that there's no human involved in the artwork.
that's going to be a really big gray area in all of this is like what is the percentage that needs to be altered by a human. Like could I draw just the figures and use AI artwork for the backgrounds in my comic, things like that. Right now, like I mean people are using Photoshop, digital models, SketchUp, things like that to help alter their comic artwork as is, and a lot of people have been adapting technology for comics. But the reality is those were tools that we're using to still generate a comic book page. And why this is a big deal for comics is 99.9% why even Marvel and DC still make comics, and anybody basically make comics, even in the indies, is they want to have copyright and ownership of an idea, of a story, of a concept of character, a trademark, any of these things, just keeping things relevant. So AI artwork, as far as copyright laws go and trademark laws go, like, there has to be a human element there. Like the reality is, and this is me speaking as an artist, is like what degree of human input do you need on the finalized work for it to be yours? As an artist, I'm safely going to say the figures. I'm going to safely say the layouts. I'm going to safely say things like that, where you can actually point to something and say, I did that part there on this whole image. I don't think just going in and skating through and altering it a little bit. I mean, maybe somebody could get away with redrawing the faces or something like that. But to be honest, I've never had an issue with getting any type of copyright or trademark on any of the properties I own myself. I also wasn't having to go through and be sifted through at what technology I use. I actually think this is a step in the right direction because you can't award copyright or trademark to a program. This is just so weird. Like I would advise anybody who's really wanting to do this to still be an artist and go in there and redo the faces, redo the figures, and just safely own it yourself. Just use AI artwork as a tool, whether it's backgrounds or something like that. Something you can modify a lot, use it for reference, I guess, or just come up with some interesting color palettes or something like that that maybe you can rip off, I guess. I
Whoa,
don't know.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold your horses, honey. It sounds like you're telling them they need training as an artist, basically.
Well, basically, that's what you're going to need at the end of the day. There's
Oh,
going to still have to be a human element, whether you're a writer or an artist. And from my understanding, even on that, if it was your script and you wrote it, I'm not sure if the AI artwork is generated, even if it's based off your script. If it's generated by the computer, can you still copyright or trademark it?
well, I think we just proved it can't because this guy obviously wrote his own comic book, right?
Right.
And
So
yeah, the artwork didn't
again,
give him the copyright, so
and I've heard arguments, I think, from your boy Zach or something like that. Like as an artist, get ahead of the curve and be some artist that you can be part of the guy that's in there with the program or something like that. Because I guess there's still some need for humans in this, but at the same time, it's like this seems like a weird. If you want to make books, if anybody just wants today to go make a book, right? And you don't care if you own it or not, just go make a book. But here's the thing: the book you made, I can grab it and I can print it just as well as you can. You don't own it, nobody's stopping anybody to go out there and make their own comic book. Just don't expect to own it with this technology, and I think rightfully so. Again, copyright and trademark and ownership of the characters going to an artificially intelligent thing, a program, and that you can't do that. Like for people who don't know, like if I own a copyright to a comic, if something happens to me, I mean, I'm able to pass that down to my family for so many years until it becomes public domain. And even then, Marvel and DC have been fighting that to what they can, but just like in the case of Disney, they couldn't hang on to Winnie the Pooh. These rules, no, whether it's a mega corporation like Disney or Marvel or Warner Brothers, they can bend in these rules a little bit, but they can't break them. And to come and think the average Joe on the street can use an AI program and do something that like Disney couldn't do with Winnie the Pooh. I mean, like that's crazy. Basically you're producing stuff that's public domain right out the gate. And you have to go,
lovely.
if you want to do it, but don't expect to own it. That's the takeaway of this. And again, I roughly know enough about copyright trademark to navigate making my own comics. I'm not a lawyer in no sense. I'm not an expert in this stuff I just know enough to keep myself out of trouble. So like I advise anybody to go do your research on this. And I think this will develop more and more, and maybe they'll flesh out exactly how much of a human touch you need on this. But what is up and available and coming down in 7 days is Inglorious Rex getting ready to hit $172,000. We are moving up on this campaign. It is live. I want to tell you guys, if you like Evangelion, if you like MMA fighting, if you like Godzilla, if you love Rocky, you're going to love this book. The first one is available in this campaign. You can just add it on, get book 1 and 2 at the same time, or buy book 1 on 9livescomics.com. The links will be down below in the description. We'll leave you guys with a trailer for Inglorious Rex.
Let out the beast. Let him out.